Shout out to all my fight enthusiasts. Thanks for tuning in today. We got some killer news for you. But first, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. Now in the news, Fight Club busted in NYC and moves its petri dish to Florida. The Fight Club that got raided in NYC last month reportedly has a new home in the Sunshine State, with a similar name and a lot of the same players' brawlers. A new Instagram account has recently popped up, which seems to be an offshoot of the Rumble in the Bronx moniker that the underground club took on while it was illegally operating in the Big Apple in November. The name now, Rumble in Orlando. It is noted that a lot of the organizers, participants and fans from that initial group also follow the new IG account, so the dots seem to connect. Rumble in the Bronx's Instagram page posted a flyer advertising an Orlando event featuring 8 exclusive fights for the night of December 5th. That same flyer, which nodded to some rudimentary coronavirus safety precaution, was also posted to another Instagram account, called it Rumble_and_Orlando, with a similar logo and list of followers. Plus, Rio has a lot of the same type of content featured on its page. Namely, dudes going at it in a makeshift ring, with people packed in all around cheering them on, and also not wearing masks. They're not trying to be too discreet either. The Rio IG bio literally reads, Rumble in Orlando is an underground fight club to show and prove a message we can all relate to. Respectfully, guns down, gloves up. The fighters, sponsors, performers, and organizers featured on the flyer also subsequently shared videos of the event in question on their Instagram stories and highlights. Images and videos from the post show about 75 to 100 people packed into a warehouse without masks. Fighters are fighting, musicians are performing, and the audience is pressed up against the ring cheering. The first rule of operating an underground fight club during a pandemic: do not advertise your fight club on Instagram. So it is definitely not as underground as Brad Pitt and Edward Norton's on-screen version. The question now, of course, is do they risk getting shut down in Florida like they were in New York? Remember, the New York City Sheriff's Office barged in on the place and busted a lot of the fighters, and also the shot callers. Now, Florida is a lot looser than NY with its COVID restrictions. They allow gatherings of up to a couple hundred people at least, and this crowd doesn't look bigger than that. Still, the no mask thing and the fact that this looks to be going down underground raises an eyebrow. The fight party was held just days before the first doses of a vaccine for COVID-19 were delivered to hospitals all over the country, made the unnecessary risk even more appalling, Florida-based experts stated. It's the stuff of nightmares for infection control, infectious disease expert and University of South Florida professor Dr. Jill Roberts said. It is just such a stark contrast to what the rest of the world is doing, Roberts added, noting that it's especially jarring to see Americans take part in large, indoor, maskless events when other countries are going back into lockdown, and some of their own cities and states are too. Dr. Marissa Levine, another University of South Florida infectious disease professor, said that a fight party with dozens of maskless people indoors was a high-risk activity for those in attendance. If you have 100 people in a room together, that's about a 70% chance that at least one person in that room is COVID, based on what we know is happening in the community right now, Levine said. It's not surprising, but it's disappointing, very unfortunate, and potentially deadly. Roberts noted that physical exertion and singing, or yelling, or cheering all come with added risks for transmission. It's a perfect storm, said Roberts. I would be very concerned. Michael Roman, 32, was one of 10 event organizers arrested in New York last month on charges of health and alcohol violations, unlawful assembly, and participating in a prohibited combative sport. They were each fined $15,000. The event, in the Bronx, involved about 200 people packed inside a warehouse largely without masks, exceeding indoor capacity limits for non-essential social gatherings. Authorities identified the event's organizers as unlicensed underground fight club Rumble in the Bronx, a group designed to allow unsettled disputes to be worked out in the ring. Roman, sometimes called Killa Mike, previously stated the undefeated had amounted to a place to kill beef and release aggressions. Patrons were also observed drinking alcohol, smoking hookah, and not wearing face coverings while failing to social distance, the New York City Sheriff's Office said. When reached by phone on Monday, Roman said he would call back to answer questions, but he did not call back, nor did he answer questions about the Bronx event, the Orlando event, or COVID-19 safety precautions. It was not clear if the fight event in Orlando was sanctioned or licensed by any state agencies. Consistent with the cowboy approach to the pandemic under Governor Ron DeSantis, the state of Florida recommends against gatherings in groups of more than 10 people, but it is not a mandate. There is no local order in Orlando with more stringent guidelines. Roxane Montan, a musician with 439,000 Instagram followers, who performed at the event, said she did so because Rumble in Orlando is what the city needs right now, adding, "Guns down, gloves up." She said she couldn't say an exact amount of people at the fight party, but that the vibe was amazing. "COVID doesn't bother me as much because I do what I can to protect myself, and I saw them doing what they needed to protect everyone as well." On that front, the flyer for the event noted that masks would be available at the door and that temperatures would be checked for all attendees. None of the other individuals identified as sponsors, performers, or DJs of the Orlando event, or their representatives, responded to requests for comments. Other photos and videos of the event showed several intense fights on a blue mat, partying, and hookah smoke drifting through the air as the flyer advertised. "If Florida is the only place that will allow it, that should be your sign that you shouldn't do it," she said. In any case, if they're trying to keep it low-key, they're not doing a very good job. Now in the news. Thanks for tuning into the news. Don't forget there are a lot of ways to help support the channel. You can donate with Cash App at @JamsTV. Also with Venmo JamsTV. And please don't forget to check out the merch store. Jams TV gear makes great Christmas gifts. See you next time, guys.